Sangeeta Maharaj. She's also from the NorCal SBDC Finance Center as the assistant director. And we are here. We're just going to do a quick update. There's not a whole lot that has changed since we first launched this on Monday. And there's also not a lot that has changed from last week, which is very, very exciting for us. But we're just going to go over a little bit of changes, and then we'll go into Q&A. And so, yeah, I just wanted to throw out this disclaimer. We talk about this every time. I talk about this every day with my team and with business owners, that things are changing all the time. This information was correct when we put it together, but things are changing all the time. So we ask you to be patient with us. We do have the most updated information that we received from SBA and from the state and from the feds as we speak to you today. But there's a few things that may have changed that we may not be privy to, and we will parking lot those questions from you, and we will get back to you. So thank you for your patience. All right, so what is available? So the types of loans that you can get, so there's still the EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, and the Advance, which we'll go over in a little bit. The correct application link is this right here in front of you. It's the COVID-19 relief.sba.gov/#/. So that's where you apply. It's very different than it was like a week and a half ago. So it's just a website now that you go on and apply. You don't need to submit the Form 5 and the 5C and the P0119. It's all embedded in this application. It's a Google form. It's about 5 pages. It asks a lot more questions than the previous application, but it's also it's easier to read and access, and it's very streamlined. It's very easy to fill out. So, and we do have SBDC advisors that can help you fill it out if you're having issues. We also have a tutorial guide that kind of shows you screenshots of every page that we can also send out after this call if you need that assistance as well. So there's the SBA direct loan is money directly from SBA. No lenders are involved. The money comes directly from SBA. Then there's SBA supported loans. And the most current one is the PPP, the Payment Protection Program, which is the PPP loans. And those are loans from lenders. The money comes from your local everyday lender down the street or the ones that you bank with. They're all local preferred 7A lenders, and those are supported by SBA. So the lenders give you the money for these loans, and the SBA will guarantee it. That's what it means by supported. And it's 100% guarantee from now to the end of the year. And it's a very good loan for lenders to provide to their business owners and possibly to non-customers. But we'll go over to that as well. Also in the state of California, there's a sales tax deferment program that's out there. We'll talk about that briefly. And there's also these iBank loans. iBank is industrial bank. It's underneath the governor's office of economic development called GoBiz. And they do state guaranteed loans, and there's some cool things that they're launching. There's an SBA Bridge Express loan. This was in statute since 2017, saying that all SBA Express lenders or 7A lenders can offer a quick $25,000 in case of a disaster. And right now we're all in disaster with COVID. So basically, if a lender is able to offer this to you, there may be an option for them to extend the credit to you as a business owner, and there may not be. We have not heard of any lenders in our local market in Northern California that are coming to the table and saying, hey, we really want to do these bridge loans, but they are out there. And then there's some current support with SBA where they're going to pay the principal and interest of current SBA 7A loans for a period of 6 months. It's like the SBA loan relief. All right, so the economic injury. So this is something that is kind of changing daily. There is no place on the application to put how much you qualify, like how much you're looking for the EIDL. They just ask you sales and cost of goods for the last 12 months. And supposedly, when they first launched this, they were saying that you qualify for about 6 months worth of working capital, which would be about 6 months. If you take your sales revenue and you minus your cost of goods, What's left is really your operating expenses, which is what working capital is, the money that it takes to operate and run your business. So roughly, you may or may not qualify for about 6 months of that. That's so eligibility. You know, businesses and co-ops can apply anything under 500 employees. Some nonprofits, 501c3s, some faith-based organizations qualify. There's they're allowing nonprofits, 501c3s that have under 750 employees. They extended that last week or Sunday maybe. That Some nonprofits, they can have over 500 employees, but under 750 employees. There's some small agricultural co-ops, and then any sole proprietors, independent contractors, anybody that is part of a gig economy that has side gig or side hustle here, whether they drive Uber, Lyft, they do Airbnb, they're a hairstylist or a real estate agent. Those all qualify. They qualify for the EIDL. They also qualify for the triple P as well. So how long does it take to get your money? Well, this is also changing daily. You can ask for a request of up to $10,000 as an advance, and you would get that roughly within 2 to 3 weeks of applying. If you get that money, regardless if you're approved or declined for the EIDL, the up to $10,000 advance would be forgiven, meaning you don't have to pay it back. And then if you say you applied for 100 grand and you got this quick 10, well, the 100 grand, the rest of the 100 grand, or the full amount of 100 grand would come later, about another 3 to 4 weeks. It says 25 to 30 days, best case scenario, but probably like another 3 to 4 weeks. All right, so the Triple P, the Payment Protection Program. So there's a new application that launched Sunday. So if you do not have the third rendition of the application, you have the wrong one. SBDCs have the right one. The Treasury launched it. So the Treasury's website has the right one as well. So there's, it's hard. The biggest thing that's coming up with business owners that we talk to daily and that we hear from on webinars is, how come my bank's not doing these anymore? Like, how do I find a bank that's going to do this for me? If my big bank, Wells Fargo, or the top 5 big banks, B of A and US Bank and all the Chase, if they're not doing my loan, where do I go to get funding? Well, it's a great question for everyone, and we're learning daily who's doing these loans and who's not doing these loans. I have some resources up here. You can go to this SBA.gov Paycheck Protection Find, type in your zip code off the SBA website, and you can find lenders locally in your own area, right next to you where you live or your place of business. There's a company called Lendistry. They're in Southern California. Actually, they're in La Brea, and they're actually taking non-customers. They're a nonprofit lender, 7A lender, so they're not a bank. You don't have to deposit money with them. You can keep your money where you bank and then go do a loan with them. So they're essentially known as a transactional lender, meaning they'll just do your loan. They won't take your deposits. And currently, SBA and Washington, D.C., they're limiting this lender at a max of $250,000 because that is their current max as a community advantage lender. So they are taking non-customers today. They launched a website platform for this. When you go to lendistry.com, there's a box that says apply for the Triple P. Very easy to use. Obviously, they are experiencing some glitches, just like SBA is for people applying, because of the mass influx of people that are applying. We have a little over 300 people on the call today. And if you're all applying at once to Lendistry because your banks are telling you no, there is going to be some lag. But just be patient. Lendistry is well capitalized, very liquid company, and they have a lot of good backing. The other one that I know of, and you could use this if you want, is smartbizloans.com. They're an aggregator, meaning they are a company that has a technology platform that has 10 or 20 or 30, maybe 100, I'm not sure, different lenders that all are 7A lenders that offer the Triple P. And you apply, they run your credit very quickly, and then they could find you a Triple P lender real close to you. Or maybe one that's online that they can talk to you. So there's some really cool tips and tricks if you can't get a loan from your traditional bank. And then what the Triple P can be used for, originally it was only like payroll costs, which is like in the parentheses, But you can also use it for rent or mortgage payments, utilities, and interest debt payments. You take your monthly costs for all your payroll, that's in the parentheses, plus your rent, mortgage payments, utilities, and interest debt, whatever that is monthly, you take that times 2.5, and that's what you qualify for the triple P. So this is a quick snapshot, just like down and dirty on the two loans side by side comparison. What you would like the max loan amount, the years, the percentage, what's forgiven, what's not, how many months deferment everything is, and oh, sorry, computer goes really fast sometimes. Okay, so this is just a quick chart. If you want us to send this to you, we can. We can also send the deck to you, but this kind of just goes over real quick. And then I think this is our last slide. So this is specific to the state of California. Other states are doing similar things. And then, as you know, in your own communities, different cities and counties and local economic development corporations are doing their own internal, possibly direct loan fund or revolving loan fund or city county fund. I was on the call with a gentleman from Humboldt this morning who they have some money that they're going to give to a local economic development corporation up there. And it's a large amount. It's about $4 million that they have in a fund they're going to give to a local economic development corporation institution up in Humboldt. And then they're going to be able to lend direct monies, which is awesome. So there's these funds that exist throughout the state of California. You just need to ask your local communities what they're doing or what they could be doing. Something that pertains to everyone on the call. The governor offered this new loan fund of about $50 million. Well, it's total $50 million to start out with. It could be more later. And they're offering loans up to $50,000. It's like a microloan. I don't really know the terms of the loan yet, but those are soon to come out this week. And the state of California, iBank, which is the Governor's Office of Economic Development, also known as GoBiz, they're working with 2 local CDFIs, one in NorCal, one SoCal. They may be adding more, but currently only 2. They have not been disclosed yet. And then these are loans that there's a state guarantee on them. So it's not SBA guarantee, it's state guarantee. So that means the state of California will give these CDFIs probably $25 million each, and then they will get people to come to them that need money, and then they will disperse the funds, and then FDCs, financial development corporations, will guarantee these loans. So if they go bad, then there's a guarantee there. There's also there's SBA guarantee, which is the triple P, and that's 100% loan guarantee. Then there's the EIDL, which is a direct SBA loan, no guarantee needed because it's direct money from SBA. Well, then there's also a state guarantee, which you may not know about. It's similar to the federal guarantee SBA, but it's state, and it's with financial development corporations. If you don't know who those are, don't worry, we do. We can connect you with them. And they work with local lenders, same lenders that you deal with on the SBA side, or maybe the ones that don't do SBA loans, they do these state guarantees. And these are disaster loans. They're I should have put the rate in here, but they're up to about $1 million at 95% guarantee. So the state guarantees it at 95% guarantee, and then the lender will lend up to $1 million. They're a 4.25% loan, and the loans range between 20 or 30 years, depending on the lender. It's a great deal. It's very similar to the triple P, but it pays for everything except for, outside of what the triple P does not pay for. And then those are the loans local to California. And then there's also this sales tax deferral that is specific to California. They're allowing businesses to defer payments of sales and use taxes up to $50,000 for up to 12 months. So I know there's a lot of information. I know it's fast, but lucky for you, we have Ann and Alan that are going to help us navigate through these questions, and we're here for you for the next however many minutes to answer questions.
Okay, great. Just so that you all know, we have more than 100 questions that have piled up in this last 15 minutes or so. So the likelihood is that we're not going to get to all of these questions. I'm going to try to answer the ones that have been, excuse me, duplicated numerous times, and the ones that might be more applicable to those, to the majority of you. Scott, would you go ahead and take off the screen share?
He has.
I did,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
And just to let everyone know, I put, and I'll put it back in again, a link to this where you can download the contents of this slide deck. So I put it in the chat, and it's available for anyone who wants to download the deck. I'll do that several times.
Okay, great. For all of you who don't know me, my name is Ann Johnson Stromberg, and I am the Associate Region Director for the NorCal Network and in charge of the programming side. These webinars are part of something that we're trying to do to get the word out to as many small businesses as possible over the next couple of weeks while all these things are changing so quickly. So I'm just going to start asking questions, and those panelists, Sunita, Scott, sometimes Alan, will pipe in and let us know what they think about those particular topics. Scott, I am already getting dozens of people asking questions about sole proprietor with no employees. Can they apply to the EIDL as well as unemployment?
Yeah, so real quick, hey Alan, so for some reason I'm not allowed to take my video and show me, so I was wondering if you could do that. I don't think I signed in as a panelist, then maybe.
No, you are a panelist, Scott, and I don't understand why it won't let you. I can't see anything that will stop you.
Okay, well then I'll just enter questions, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, no worries. So the question, and you mentioned it's regarding sole proprietors and applying for the triple P. So sole proprietor, no?
No, sole proprietor applying for EIDL loan and unemployment. And then my next question is going to be for sole proprietors applying for the triple P. How do draws work for payroll?
Sole proprietors applying for EIDL, they can sign up right now. They shouldn't wait. And the sole proprietors for triple P, and if you take a draw and you don't pay yourself through a paycheck format, then there's new legislation coming out this Friday for that, April 10th. So we do not have an updated answer for you on that yet.
Ginger Casanova is asking, she's saying that her business is an essential business. However, she's got an employee that's very uncomfortable working, even though there are precautions available. How do you bring back employees to work to qualify if they're reticent to come back? Are there any options for those who want to be able to utilize PPP?
So if you've let people go and then you're trying to bring them back, you would need to, say if you're closed due to the area that you're in, then it's a really tricky answer and a really tricky scenario or situation how to navigate. But if you could technically bring them back and pay them, and then they just sit at home because they can't go into work, that's okay. And that's okay per the triple P for you to pay for that, even though they're not at work, but only for 2.5 months.
Okay. So for those people that are talking about how the PPP, their lender isn't offering PPPs anymore, any information on where they can find a lender, and if they can't find a lender right now, do you know if there will be more lenders that come available with PPP in the future?
Yeah, so again, I will show this screen if you want me to. If you don't, since you're doing your thing, Ann. But yeah,
no, please.
There is a slide that I just showed. I'm not sure if this person saw it, but this is it. I mean, if you can't get a loan from your current lender, whether they shut you down or they are taking too many applications or whatever the reason is, you can go to SBA.gov, unless they change this website from yesterday, but you go to SBA.gov, paycheck protection /find. You type your zip code, you can find a lender for you. Also, there's a company called Lendistry in Southern California. You can go to lendistry.com. Maybe Alan can put that in the chat, www.lendistry.com. They're the only lender, they're a non-bank lender that I know of. I reached out to several yesterday, and their max is 250. But if you bank at Wells Fargo and you can't get a loan there, or you bank at wherever and you can't get a loan, call Lendistry or go on their website and apply. There's a list on there when you go on apply of things you need to get together and get ready before you apply, so they can be ready. And then there's smartbizloans.com. You can do some research on your own. If you're super not sure what to do, because there's so many options, I gave you 3 here, then you can reach out to your local SBDC and we can help you figure that out.
Great. Multiple people are asking when they're going to hear back. You did talk about the timelines for like what is expected, but nothing is guaranteed from SBA, correct, Scott?
Yeah, so they keep changing this. Originally when they launched it, they said the 10K advance was going to, be in your bank account within 2 to 3 days. Obviously that was hopeful thinking. Now it's about 2 to 3 weeks. If you apply on the new link, that we showed, and you press submit, there's a loan number that pops up and starts with the number 3, and that's your loan number. So that means you're in the queue. And since you're in the queue, you're good to go. You just need to wait. You just need to be very patient. And I know that's hard for you to do as a business owner sometimes, but you're just going to have to wait. If you can't wait, then I recommend that you apply for triple P somewhere. If you can't wait for that, then I recommend that you get together with your local SBDC and see what else is available, whether it's this $50,000 loan from the governor's office, or it's a state loan guarantee program from your local FDC. In Northern California, we have 2 local FDCs. We have one in Sacramento called California Capital, and we have another one in Oakland called NorCal FDC. And we, as the Finance Center, we work with these local lenders daily and weekly, and we have the most updated information that we could get out to the public for you. But we are here to help you, so we can answer the questions as fast as you can bring them to us locally in our marketplace, and we can get you to a lender very quickly.
Well, we can try to answer the questions. We're already at 140 in the queue here, Scott. We've got a question from Amanda. She's saying the SBA loan is forgivable if you can prove that you can return back to normal wages and salaries. What if my business doesn't bounce back right away and the shelter in place order is lifted? Will I still owe this loan? How is that determined?
So the first statement that they made may or may not be true on the way they stated that question. I don't think that's true really, but from what I've heard from SBA, and Sunita Maharaj, my assistant director, she's going to chime in and out if I say something wrong, or if she may have more updated information than I. But I think that is a case-by-case situation question. I don't think that's an end-all, say-all question, and we might have to parking lot that or reach out to them separately.
Okay. Emmy is asking or saying that they've tried everybody on the SBA list and it's not current. What do they do?
So if the SBA lender list for Triple P is not correct, then I would recommend that you go, if you can't get any help locally, I'd recommend that you go to lendistry.com or smartbizloans.com. Those are the only 2 fintech platforms that I know that I believe in and that I truly vetted myself. Smart Biz Loans is a fintech company started about 5 years ago. It's a great company. Lendistry, I have direct access to the CEO. I asked him this morning because I was curious, you know, what are you charging the clients for the loans? How much are the fees? He says, we're not charging any fees to clients. We are also not paying any fees to brokers. Our funders are afraid of fraud. They're only getting paid. Lendistry is only getting paid from SBA, which any lender is on the triple P, but they're not charging any fees up front. It's a very good company to go to if you need an out, up to 250 max.
Somebody is saying, Bradley is saying that his bank, Wells Fargo, froze any applications for PPP prior to 4/5. Are there other banks? And I think that we've kind of talked about that. Another person is saying that Wells Fargo, that their business is on the Wells Fargo list for PPP, but they haven't been given an application yet. If they're like in a holding pattern, but have been identified as from their lender that they're like in the queue, should they go ahead and apply to like a Lendistry instead?
So if you're in the queue for your local lender, I would say no, but you can do what you want. If you're very impatient, you can reapply. I just don't strongly recommend anybody reapplying if you're already in the queue. So I don't recommend. Some business owners, when they're impatient, they apply to like several different banks for the same loan. I don't recommend that you do that with the triple P, unless your bank says, hey, we're not doing these anymore. Then I would recommend to do that. But as of right now, if you're in the queue, I would recommend to stay in the queue. If you need the current application, all local SBDCs have the current application. Maybe maybe Alan can find the link and he can put it in the chat for you. But if you're going to ask multiple questions, not you, Ann, but the people in the chat, if you're going to ask multiple questions about local lenders and where to go, the answer is what I gave you. If that's not good enough for you, then please reach out to me or the local SBDC that you work with, and they can get you better or possibly different information. But this is the information. So I have a team that does research. That we do this all day long, and we're trying to find the lenders that are taking on customers. I will tell you this: there are lenders out there, possibly ones that you don't bank with, but you know somebody that works there. They're taking non-customers case by case. So you just have to like somehow plead your case, write a really good narrative, or just have a better approach, or work with your local SBDC and we can help you with that.
Okay. For those that are asking questions about unemployment benefits, that's not our area of expertise. We're hopeful that in an upcoming webinar, we'll have an expert to talk that can kind of speak to unemployment benefits and how they apply to your employees. But for right now, that's not an area that we can comment on. Also, I wanted to let you know that the SBDCs can only serve for-profit businesses. If you're asking questions regarding nonprofits, although Scott did mention nonprofits in the slide deck, that's not something that we can answer questions on because our funders give us funding specifically to help for-profit businesses. Okay. One individual is saying that they have 3 different businesses. Can they apply for the EIDL for all 3 entities since they're all suffering, Scott?
Yes, if you own multiple companies at 100%, you can apply in the EIDL in different applications. It can't be all the same application, but if you own 100% of multiple companies, you apply once, you press submit, apply again, press submit, apply again, press submit. That's how you do that.
Ryan is asking if it's difficult to fulfill the requirements for loan forgiveness. What is involved in those requirements?
So for the EIDL, there is no loan forgiveness. With the advance, there is loan forgiveness 100%. With the triple P, the loan forgiveness is case by case. If you can prove to them that you did everything right, then you could potentially get the first 8 weeks or 2 months forgiven of payroll and possibly some of your rent, utilities, and interest debt payments.
Carmela is asking, She's a sole proprietor. She had already applied for the EIDL. Can she apply for the PPP or not?
So you can apply for the EIDL and the PPP at the same time, and any other loans that you want at the same time. The only thing you can't do is use the same funds, have the same use of funds for the EIDL and the triple P. So the triple P only pays for 2.5 times your payroll, rent, utilities, and interest payments for 2.5 months. The EIDL could be used potentially for 6 months worth of working capital. So you could use the PPP for just payroll, use the EIDL for everything else. But as you're waiting for those monies to be approved or declined, you could apply for other funds. But if you get those funds before you get the PPP or EIDL, then and you use them for the same reason and purpose, then you're going to have to turn down the EIDL or the triple P. It's on a good faith approval. Like SBA and the state, everybody's asking you to be truthful and honest about that as a business owner. So that's how that works. You can apply for several different loans. It just can't, if you get approved, you can't use each loan for the same purpose.
Okay. Dan says he owns 2 companies. One company provides machine parts to the other company. One of his employees splits time between both companies. Is there a special way to handle this in terms of the payroll estimates, et cetera?
I would just say for that question, it's business as usual. So if it doesn't matter if they share one person against like amongst 10 different companies, it doesn't really matter per se. If that person is on payroll for both companies, then I guess you could count it differently. But if they're only on payroll for one company and you share them with another company and don't put it on that payroll, then I would say that's a CPA tax question. Then it's more of a SBDC question.
Okay. There's some questions about SBA, needing an SBA approved lender for EIDL. Could you explain where those EIDL funds are coming from, Scott?
Yeah, so the EIDL funds are coming directly from SBA, which is the federal government. It's in Washington, D.C. That's where the funds are directly coming for. It's coming from SBA. The EIDL has no lenders involved, 0 lenders in the EIDL. The triple P are preferred 7A lenders, which there's thousands of them across the country.
Okay. One individual says that she had laid off 11 part-time employees. If she can only rehire 4 to 5 of them because of health concerns or childcare, can those 4 to 5 people still have part of the PPP or can she still have part of the PPP forgiven for those employees that do come back?
The simple answer is yes.
Okay. Do we use, okay, so please in your questions, please quantify whether you're asking about the EIDL loan specifically or the PPP. If I don't know, I'm going to skip over your question as I have 173 currently waiting for me. Should I be waiting to see, this is from Emmy, should I be waiting to see if my personal bank will be able to process the PPP inquiry or look around for somebody else since the clock is ticking? I think you already answered that.
Yeah, always start with your bank. If they say no or they can't help you, then go online.
Okay. Could you clarify the timelines for those people who needed to reapply for the EIDL loan?
Yeah, if you applied before March 29th, which was a Sunday, and you have not heard back anything from SBA, including all regular email and spam email that they may send it to, in respect to like if they need more documents or they have a loan number, if you haven't received anything like that, then you need to reapply.
Okay. Jonathan, in terms of the timeline, we've already talked about that a few times for EIDL loans. We don't really have any answers for that, but yes, we have had clients funded for those EIDL loans and approved. So those are moving through. And there is some rumors that the PPP, that there is some funding happening. We can't verify that yet, but people have been approved for those as well. Can you talk about the EIDL loan forgiveness bit, or the $10,000? What exactly is that, Scott?
Yeah, so when you apply for the EIDL and you get on the 4th page, there's something that says, "Would you like an advance of $10,000?" And if you click yes, then supposedly you're supposed to get that within 2 to 3 weeks, and that is forgiven.
Jessica is asking, because her business is a service-based business, can their working capital include technology equipment software such as laptop, tablet, subscriptions to Zoom, etc.?
If it's something that was a normal expense in 2019, then yes. If it's something that's brand new, no. If it's not reoccurring month to month, no.
Right. If it's a new business started this year, how do you report 12 months of sales for the EIDL application?
Well, you can't because you haven't been in business for 12 months, but you could potentially submit projections for the next 12 months or for the year of 2020, since we're almost 4 months into 2020. You're gonna have to do projections, a very detailed business plan, and a very compelling story.
Okay, Robert is saying that he applied early in the process. He did not give a date that he had done that. He's still awaiting a reply. Is there any reason to not reapply now that the process has been more streamlined, Scott?
He should reapply.
Okay. If I applied for the PPP on Saturday, the 4th, do I need to reapply with the application that came out on Sunday, the 5th?
Only if your lender says you need a new application.
Okay. Let's see. The slides for everybody are going to be shared via the chat window. Is that correct, Alan? So anybody who's wanting copies of the slides, that can go in there.
I've just put it back in there again.
Great. Chrissy is asking, can PPP money be used to pay federal taxes?
Or no.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. No, small. Sorry, I'm trying to read through these guys as quickly as I can. People are asking, how do we know if we've been approved for a disaster loan? If they've applied, what comes to them, Scott, so that they will know?
It's an email from SBA saying that you're approved, and we just need to have you sign some paperwork. It's something like that. It's probably won't say something exactly like that, but it's very similar to that.
Do equipment lease payments qualify for the PPP loan?
The lease payments qualify for the PPP loan? What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Equipment lease payments.
Yeah, it does. Supposed to, based on what they said, yes.
Okay. If I've answered your question, then I'm just skipping them over. Yes, the PowerPoint's available here. We're not going to be emailing them. You can download it directly from the chat window. A recording link, is that being sent out to everybody, Alan?
We're going to plan to try and get this one on the website, but it will also be available on YouTube, on our YouTube channel.
What is the YouTube channel site that they can look for?
It is. Let me confirm that and get it into the chat box in just a second. It's a really cool new simple one. Oh, we go. Yeah, I think it's there. Let me just, yeah. It's zoom.asksbdc.com/YT. So yeah, it's easy to remember, and I'm going to throw it into the chat right now.
Great. Todd is asking how he can be paired up with a business advisor for the SBDC. You can go online to norcalsbdc.org and type in your zip code, and you'll be directed to the SBDC nearest you and apply for services. It's a quick application, and we will get you in for a quick intake appointment and then assign you to an advisor. That's how our process works. Let's see. The PPP application only asks for the payroll average. How do you include your rent, etc.? Scott?
Yeah, so you would just add your rent to that, your rent, and then your monthly rent, and times by 2.5. You just add that to your payroll average.
Okay. Let's see. Yes, again, if you are self-employed with no employees, you can apply to the PPP and the EIDL. We've been getting that question many times on this list of questions today. Let's see. Somebody is mentioning that they are being charged for assistance. Just so that you are aware, the SBDC program, we do not charge for assistance from clients. All of our services are provided to clients for free, and our trainings, everything related to COVID assistance for clients and public small businesses that aren't clients are free. So if you ever hear of anything like that, then please contact your local SBDC director, and they'll get in touch back with you and find out what's going on. But SBDC services are 100% free. Let's see. Danny is a little confused about the state program, Scott. He says the slide says the maximum grant amount is 50,000, but later it says 1 million with a 95% guarantee. What is the amount that we can tell? What is the real amount?
For the state guarantee, it's up to $1 million and 95% guarantee. So I probably confused everyone. The governor launched the $50 million loan fund, which is $50,000 max, and that's a direct loan. That is totally separate from the state. That's also a state guarantee microloan program. It's brand new, created like last week. The other one is a state guarantee loan, very similar to an SBA guarantee loan, but it's 95% up to $1 million. That's separate from that $50 million loan fund. Total separate loan program.
We've got one person on the Q&A saying, do you essentially fall through the cracks if you were pre, oh shoot, where did you go here? Do you essentially fall through the cracks if you were pre-revenue startup phase at the beginning of the disruption?
All right, so the declaration date was January 31st. So if you started your business before, okay, so here's the real answer to that question. I don't want to get into like the convoluted part of it, but we're not allowed to discourage anyone from applying. So if you think that you're not sure if you should apply or not, you should apply. And then depending on how that goes, we can help you further after that, but just apply.
So Markella is asking regarding sales tax. You did have something on your slide about sales tax. Do you need to do anything special to fill out a deferment?
Great question. I do not know the answer to that.
Okay. Let's see. Do you have to get full employment at 6:30 to get your loan forgiven. What does that mean when you have a lot of part-time employees? Does that make sense to you, Scott?
Yeah, there's like a thing that says that you have to, I mean, we're in March, so we're in April now, but when they launched it, it was in March. So 2.5 months from when they launched it would have been June 30th, right? April, May. I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that question, really, to be honest with you, but we could find it out. I just don't know. Sorry.
Okay. Let's see. For all of you who are asking clarifying questions about the slides, those you can find in the chat. So please go there for those copies. Anna Maria is saying, or is asking, as a realtor, is there anything specifically available to her?
Yes. If she's a 1099 or self-employed, she can apply for the EIDL. PPP, she can't apply for until Friday.
Okay. Let's see. So again, the PPP for self-employed people cannot apply until Friday. For sole proprietors?
Yes, Friday.
Friday. Okay. In terms of unemployment benefits, guys, that's not something that we're able to answer again. For somebody who works out of their home and does not have an office, they just have mortgage and utilities, can you explain how they can come to some sort of a dollar amount that they can put into their application, Scott?
Yeah, if they file their mortgage payment or a portion of their mortgage payment on their Schedule C, if they file that legitimately, then they can qualify for that. But if they don't do that on their taxes, then they can't qualify for that. And they haven't done that in 2018, they worked somewhere else, but then 2019 they started working at home and they haven't filed their taxes for 2019, then they need to file their taxes for 2019 so that there are historicals so that they can qualify for that.
Okay. Chris Lee is asking if an SBDC advisor can help you. Yes, go to the norcalsbdc.org website, type in your zip code and find the SBDC near you and apply. That's how we can help you on that front. Can you talk a little bit about credit reports in terms of the requirements for PPP and EIDL? I think that this person is asking, well, they're asking, is a credit report required for both of those loans? But I think that they might be concerned about how their credit is pulled for both of those. Can you talk about that, Scott?
Yeah, so credit is always going to be an issue. The EIDL and the PPP haven't come out and saying that we don't care about credit. We don't care if you have a 400, 300, 800, 900. We don't care. They haven't said that yet, so that means it does matter. There is no documented minimum credit score that they're saying, like, it's not 600, 550, 680, 720. They're not saying what that is. So at this time, we don't know. I know that the EIDL loan is a blend of your business credit score and your personal credit score, and then it's an internal score that SBA figures out on their own. Triple P loans, those are lender specific, and lenders usually want, credit that's above 640, but I think it's per lender. So.
And Scott, I do remember SBA stating that it's a soft pull that they pull, so it's not going to affect the credit.
That's true. Thanks for saying that. That is true.
Okay. Jason Montague is asking, how far back is the window for having an employee laid off? I laid off one employee on March 15th. Do I need to get him back on payroll to qualify for PPP forgiveness?
The quick answer is yes. You're supposed to put him back on payroll and then apply. But there's a link that we can send out that has more answers to these questions than what we usually know. And I will do my best to put it in the chat.
Okay. Carrie is, or Karen is saying EIDL offers zero loan forgiveness, question mark. I thought it was up to 10K forgiveness for payroll, rent, and utilities. So there's some mixing of items here. Scott, could you clarify?
So say that again. They're doing what? What did they ask for?
She's saying EIDL offers 0 loan forgiveness, question mark.
Oh
I
yeah.
It
So
went up to 10,000 forgiveness for payroll, rent, and utilities.
all right. Yeah. So the forgiveness for EIDL is 0. The loan is 0 forgiveness. The advance up to $10,000 is forgiven. Triple P, the loan forgiveness is potentially 2 months worth of expenses or payroll. Potentially.
Okay. Oh, okay. Somebody's saying that they had joined the meeting on Monday, and there was an email address that was offered where they could reach out for assistance for questions. Scott, do you have that available?
Nope, it's no longer available anymore. SBA took it away from us. But Aaron, our marketing director, is creating one for us, which we'll have hopefully at the end of the week, where you can just go to like asksbdc.org or com, and then we can answer questions for you right there. But for SBA, no more emails.
Okay. And then also, don't quote Scott on that exact email address because that isn't it. I don't think.
No, it's a website. It's not an address. No. So,
Oh, it's a website.
Give me a website. Yeah.
Got it. Do retirement payments for employees qualify as payroll amounts, Scott?
I don't think so.
I think it's I think that they're asking about retirement as part of their benefit package, what they pay into their employees' retirement. Benefits are paid for, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Let's see. Do we have this webinar in other languages?
We do tomorrow.
We do tomorrow. Scott, what can you say about that?
Oscar Garcia at the Northern California SBDC affiliate Hispanic Chamber of Commerce program is going to launch their first in-language Spanish speaking on tomorrow at 10:30 to 11:30.
10:30 to 11:30. And where do they go to find the link for that?
Alan's going to send it out to everyone.
Oh, okay, great. Somebody's asking how you know if you're in the queue at Wells Fargo. We don't know that answer. You'd have to have a conversation with your lender. And insofar as somebody else had asked, how do we know if we're in the queue with SBA for the EIDL loan? Again, they will send you an email and that'll have a confirmation application number. But in terms of how long for all of these things, we're not sure. I was just going to share with you all a statistic that I learned about yesterday. On the national level, SBA is on an annual basis, what SBA was processing for loans in 2019 and beyond before that, they're now processing on a daily basis. So if you can imagine, the organization was never created to handle this type of demand. Neither was the SBDC for that matter. So we're all trying to, and I'm going to use Kristen Johnson's analogy, build this plane while we're flying it. So it has not been easy for anybody involved. So timelines are kind of out the window. We're just trying to muddle through this. We've just got 3 minutes left. Are there some final comments from panelists or Kristen before we sign out for the day?
I just want to thank everybody for being on the call. And if your question did not get answered, we are trying to bring up additional resources in this week that will allow you to type in questions to our center and have somebody respond in email. We're moving as fast as we can. If you have already contacted an SBDC and are waiting, please let us know. You can contact Montague at norcalsbdc.org, and we will help you out in making sure you're not sitting on a list. So thank you very much. And Scott, great job, and Anne, great job. And we'll talk to you on Friday.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
CHP housing.